You know what? I got no
Yeah.
complaints. I'm just about to embark on a big project, coming up this summer. So I'll actually be coming through Calgary again. I rode my bike across Canada in 2019, and I've actually decided to do it again. This time it's going to be a lot different. It's going to be, going from the Terry Fox all the way to Newfoundland, and it's going to be called We Can, and it's a ride for mental wellness and connecting humanity. And so, we've collaborated with some really good people, some good organizations and whatnot. A wonderful producer just jumped on board yesterday. And so he's all in. And so we'll be doing a full doc series and trying to really reframe the way society looks at mental health, addiction,
Mhm.
trauma, all that kind of stuff that our world's being faced with right now. So I think 2019 was the primer. And, so I've been, trying to keep myself in shape, mind, body, and soul. And, thank God for my sobriety, I guess,
Yeah.
or else I'd be, there's so many people these days that are going down the rabbit hole with, the unfortunates of the pangs of addiction, so to speak. And I think you're at about 4 months right now
No,
yourself.
no, not 4 months. Getting close to 500 days.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah,
okay.
so it
Good
was
for you, man.
November 25th, 2020, and
Oh wow. Okay, so it's been a while. I gotta mark that on my calendar.
yeah, so
You
made
know
that
what
one
though?
year
It's
mark.
what's that?
Made the 1 year mark, and that was exciting.
Awesome. Yeah. You know what? I always look at, I see a lot of people that have 2 weeks
Hmm.
and it's the quality, not so many days counted and whatnot. I mean, I'm coming up on 6 years. It'll be 6 years coming in July. And that's 15 years in recovery. And, but I don't even have the slightest inclination or even the itch to pick up a drink. I just know
Yeah.
like where that would take me.
Hmm.
And yeah, by the grace of God or a higher power, whatever you want to make it or be it, gives me the blessed opportunity to be talking to somebody, a fellow friend of Bill's, you
Yes,
know?
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
I think once you faced hell and seen the
Oh,
darkest of
fuck.
dark for your own self,
Yeah.
you're afraid to go back there. And I think,
Oh, terrified.
yeah,
Absolute terror. Well, those demons are very real.
yes,
Yeah. So,
it's an understatement to say that.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Those demons that don't want you to get out of bed in the morning and put the
Hmm.
blankets over top of your head that nobody else sees.
Oh, yes. And you know what? Yeah, we might not have the social circles we once did,
Yeah.
but aren't you at peace now?
I'm at peace with myself. It's that inner wealth that you find, within. And, I do a lot of spiritual practices with meditation. I try to get in at least, you know, 15, 20 kilometers walking and, hopping on the bike and whatnot, just keeping my mind, body, and soul, just, it's all kind of working in unison and, eat healthy foods, lots of
Mhm.
water, it's just, cutting out the bad habits and the so-called bad habits kind of
So-called bad
thing. It
habits,
just
yes,
everything plays into the whole demographics of, let's say, sustained sobriety.
for sure.
So yeah, it's not just going to meetings. It's not
Nope.
just reading the book. There's so many things that play into our wellness, right?
An
So
everyday
um,
journey and a battle, and you wake
oh,
up and you go for it. Yeah.
absolutely. All we have is the present moment. So, and what a gift it is. So, I got to wake up today with not a whole lot of sleep, but I got to wake up today without a hangover. So,
And as you get older, those things hurt.
oh God, I couldn't even imagine. Well, I can't even like literally. I should not be here today. I used to I put more cocaine up my nose and crap and MDMA with that fast lane lifestyle. The business that I was involved with
Right.
after hockey and during hockey just was just so like extreme to the max. Like the biggest party wherever it was in the world had to be there, and it was just go go go, no off switch ever. And it definitely catches up to you.
What
So
is your
anyways,
what does your hoodie and your toque say?
Oh, this is actually a brand that I created. It's called Divine Source Matter. So
Okay.
it's yeah, it's an apparel line I created, fairly recently with a very good friend of mine, and then my best buddy. I don't know if have you ever heard of a guy named Brent Sopel before?
I haven't. No.
He won the cup with the Blackhawks back in 2010. Played about a 15-year NHL career. So him
Oh,
and I go back into the junior days, and so we've created this clothing line that 10% goes back into the mental health arena. And I don't know. So far,
I
people are
think he's
really
got a
loving it.
podcast, right?
Pardon me?
He's got a podcast.
No, he goes on a lot.
Oh, does he?
I'm sure he'd be happy to
Yeah.
jump on yours as well. He's got one hell of a story. I could send you his documentary or something like
Sure.
that. And he's just a wonderful guy. He's been sober for almost 6 years as well. So yeah, he's great. Just
It's
a
funny
super
when we
stand up
all
guy.
it's funny when we all meet each other and realize, holy smokes, we all have something in common, which is,
Oh,
we understand it. Yeah. And you know what?
exactly.
I wish more people did understand it, where, if they're struggling out there, that there is help. And first and foremost, you got to start with yourself and say, where the hell
100%.
am I going?
Yeah, I always say that it all starts with the relationship that we have with ourselves. Drop the ego there for a
Hmm.
bit. Realize that you're not that. Detach from your identity, and it can be painful sometimes letting loose of that pain body. But at the end of the day, it's worth it because then you really find that humility, from within, and a lot of people can fire up pictures on Instagram and social media and say they're doing this and doing that. But at the end of the day, it's these, open conversations and dialogue that gets to actually really, you're able to touch another person's heart. And, like it doesn't matter how many followers you have,
No.
or it doesn't matter. None of that means shit at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's your own wellness and, feeling good and being able to have that love from within for
Mhm.
yourself, and then being able to expand that outwards into just being able to help even one person. And but yeah, it all starts with helping number one. So you're no good to anybody unless you're good to yourself, right? So
You
that's
know what I've
something
always
that's
wondered? How come you don't have a
that's
podcast? You got to get a podcast going.
I had one.
You
I actually
did.
I had one. I had one going for a little while, and a few things happened, and my old man actually got sick with dementia. I was living up in the Okanagan and had to come back to Vancouver, just to kind of be there for the family and whatnot. So it kind of put a hold on that. I was thinking about starting one off as I'll be going across
Mhm.
Canada starting May 25th, which is going to be kind of cool to do that again. And then once I'm done Canada, I'll be jumping over into the States, and a place that I was told I was never allowed to be back allowed to because of my marijuana charge back in 2000. But I was very blessed to get a humanitarian pardon, the first of its kind, for riding across Cambodia in the year 2012 to help with the eradication of human trafficking and child sex slavery. So I realized how much awareness and impact you can have through taking action.
Mhm.
And, this ride is going to be completely different this time. It's not just one guy on a bike.
Yeah.
People all along the string from, say, the Terry Fox Pavilion to the other side of the country will be more than welcome to hop in along the ride and be part of. So it's a ride for wellness, but also connecting humanity at the same time. And very blessed. We have a wonderful producer that's in alignment, with the grand vision.
Yeah.
And so he'll be capturing, the whole journey and the multiple journeys all within. Campfire talks with, professional athletes that have all been lined up with an organization that I'm very close with is Same Here Global. So I'll be popping through your hood there in Cowtown, and
We'll
I'll
have
be
to get
meeting.
together.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to have you part of it. Even jump on the bike for 10 kilometers or something. Or maybe we'll throw an event of some sort. Yeah, it's like when it's focusing on mental wellness. I hate that word mental illness because people like, oh, automatically I'm ill.
Hmm.
So if you can focus on the wellness side, it really reframes your train of thought. And I think in no greater time, you talk about the disconnection of people. We need that connection. And, that's what we're going to capture on this ride. It's more than just a ride. It's about, reaching not just millions, but billions of people, with the network that we have, obviously, and just expanding it where people can actually see that you're not alone, and giving people the proper resources that they can actually turn to for solution-based ideas with anxiety, depression, addiction, all these kind of things, because all these modalities, one may work for one person, but it might not work for the other person. So, yeah, so I'm really excited about that. We're going to be, blowing out a huge documentary series and hitting all kinds of stuff that a lot of people are scared to look at. But at the end of the day, we're all the same but different.
Amen to that. Have you met a gentleman by the name of Tom Budd? He lives in the Okanagan. Thomas Budd?
Thomas Budd. Name sounds very familiar,
I'll
but
have to put
no,
you
I
in
haven't met
touch
him.
with him because he loves to ride and he's a big advocate for mental health.
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah,
He lost
absolutely. The
both
more the
his
merrier.
children to mental health. Um,
Yeah,
so it'd be great for you to connect. I'll put you in touch with him.
cool.
He
Yeah, that'd be
loves
great,
riding,
man.
and that's his escape. So he'll join you maybe on the journey.
Sweet. Well, we're supposed to have a little event with Theron Fleury there. So probably be in Calgary for 3 or 4 days, and then in Toronto, we'll be doing another event, and he'll be there as well.
Nice.
Elvis Stoico is involved as well. I mean, the list goes on. It's not just about the celebrity. We all put on our pants the same way or the wrong way or different ways. But the celebrity impact obviously gets a lot of traction. And at the end of the day, these are guys, like, you take a guy like Theron Fleury, who's been very open and candid with his story. He's humble, and he definitely says it like it is from his heart. That's for sure. He doesn't hold back, and but that's what I like about him. He's real, and that's what we want to capture, is everything raw and real, and just touch people's hearts along the way, as many people as we can, just to help others. This whole thing that we're doing is just all about helping people. And, like I say, at no greater time in history, with this great disconnect, is an imperative that we really bind together as one. And, I've been, called the humanitarian and stuff like that. But, we can all be humanitarians at the end of the day. I really dislike that word humanitarian. I'd rather just call it good human. We can all just be good humans, be kind to each other. A lot of people preach kindness and compassion,
Yes.
but you got to put action behind that kindness and compassion. It's one thing to say it when you're laying in bed and doing a little shout out on
Instagram. Yeah.
Instagram or Facebook, but what are you really doing to put into the spectrum of that, say, kindness and
Yeah.
compassion? Because they're words, unless you actually put that into actual, doing it or being it, and actually like putting it out there. So yeah.
What has been some of the things that you've noticed from people as we come to an endemic here, and how individuals are now treating one another? Is it for the better? Is it for the worse? Are we kind of realizing, wow, we're all humans and we don't have to pick sides and be destructive to one another or ourselves through the process?
Yeah, I mean, I go for walks every day, whether it be in nature or just, being around people. And, there's so many different opinions and perspectives and perceptions. And, I'm, I really try not to take sides. Like I said, everyone's got a flock of opinions at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I just, I do my best to stay in my lane and just be myself. If I can be true to myself, then, at the end of the day, I can go to bed at night and know that I've done the best I can, just to be the best I can. And, you can't really ask anything more than that.
No,
Um,
people don't realize that, especially individuals that are or have gone sober. Um, every day's a battle. So the
Yeah,
External world's problems is overbearing at times, and we don't need to deal with that because we're dealing with ourselves, right? Heart and mind.
100%. Yeah, I always say, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and I don't want to get all, I don't want to over spiritualize this conversation, but I kind of look at it, we're holographic images projecting themselves to a human nervous system, becoming self-aware. And everyone's nervous system seems to be jacked up right now to the what, to the max. And I think that's what's created a lot of the angst, a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the depression and mental disorders, so to speak. Outside my condo, I don't get a lot of sleep. I'm in a beautiful area, but the sirens and it's a gong show out there these days. And hopefully that'll start to smooth out a little bit. I think we are on the back end of this whole thing. um, you know, please God.
Yes.
It's been a tough 2.5 years for everybody. A lot of mine. I don't want to say the word. Can we swear in here?
Oh, yes, you can swear.
A lot of mind fuckery has been gone into play over the last few years here with this, and the neurosis that it can cause with so many people, and you don't know if you don't know, and so many people just don't understand the validity of this, what is going on the back end.
Hmm.
Who's in charge of making these mandates and these rules and setting this and setting that, and it really confuses people, and that's what's causing the division. So whatever we can do to I think in no greater time in history do like-minded people and people with big hearts need to collaborate together and unify and really stand up for humanity. We chose to be here in this time-space reality to either stand still or to make a change. So number one, you make the change within yourself that needs to be, get into that power center and ground it, and try to live each moment to the fullest, as no next moment is ever promised. Love life, and try to I always just say, stay in your lane and do the best you can, and that's really all you can ask for yourself. And you know um, just be good.
Yeah, and be gentle with yourself, I think.
Absolutely.
That's so big,
We're our own worst enemies, usually 100% of the time.
How's your daughter doing?
My daughter, she's doing well. She's
Yeah.
just over a year sober. She's had some very trying times. She
Hmm.
was addicted to methamphetamine for close to 4 years. We couldn't find her for almost 2 years. She was on the streets. So you want to get into the mental health arena here. She's battled her demons, her mental health issues, which started off as a concussion that she sustained playing soccer down in the States. And she had all kinds of scholarship offers and whatnot. She suffered this awful concussion, which I'm very, very aware. I've had quite a few of my own, and that took her for a tailspin. She had to drop out of school because she couldn't focus. They didn't know how bad it really was. Next thing you know, she was hanging out with the so-called wrong crowd. Got into substance abuse, which we never saw coming at all. I don't think we ever see it coming. It just comes, and we either succumb to it or we reject it. And some of us just have that allergy, right? And she's I'm so proud of her today. She's, like I said, she's just over a year sober. She actually she's had multiple visits to the psych ward. That was really hard for me to see her in that position as a father. Visiting your daughter in the psych ward is not it was very emotionally taxing, so to speak. And I met her mom when I was playing hockey down there in Kansas, and you never see those things coming, but you just I guess whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I was on the phone with her this morning, and sometimes I look at her. She's 22 now, and I had her quite early with her mom. Um, but she's tough as nails. She's at the gym every day. She's doing the best to sustain her sobriety, be a good mom, and it just goes to show that when you make that decision after you cross the threshold, so to speak, anything is possible. And it's really when your will meets God's will that things start to really, that's the game changer. When you feel that source energy trying to come through you,
Mhm.
that God of your understanding. And it's I turn my will and my life over to God on a daily, many times, because I suffer from anxiety. I still go through my depressed states, my moods and whatnot. And you know I'm a recovering alcoholic addict. I've put more cocaine and drugs in my system than you could fill up, 25,000 barns. I've the Ibizas and the parties. I mean, I've been to 70 plus countries in my life, all fueled on marijuana money, which I have $0 left of, thank God. So, talk about going through the depths of hell and back. They were the greatest and funnest times of my life that I thought would never end, but they ended when it was,
Mhm.
Ryan drinking by himself. Um, the party was over, and it was time to make a change. And we're constantly changing, we're constantly expanding, and that's our own evolution is expansion. So it's we got to let go of the resistance sometimes, and or all the time as much as we can, which is very hard, especially these days. With the energy that's rippling across the masses. That fear-based mentality is it's crushing a lot of souls. So it's just being able to really hone in on your own convictions. And that's kind of the way I just go about my life, is that every day is a blessing. And how can I be of service to my fellow man? And when I put that out there, it's like the law of vibration, the law of attraction, however you want to define it. You start to attract those people, places, and things that allow you to actually live your life's purpose. And when you're not on your purpose, when you're not on track, because your internal compass is usually kind of like offset. So I know when I'm feeling a little bit off. I got to check myself before I wreck myself.
What do you do when you feel off to help realign yourself and not go
um,
to the booze or the drugs that you once did?
well, I'm a huge advocate of meditation,
Yeah.
deep breathing, get outside, walks in nature if you can. If you're not close to nature, just to walk outside, breathing fresh air. I journal about everything I'm grateful for.
Mhm.
Gratitude. I mean, I think it all comes down to being truly grateful for what you have and what you don't have. And when you write that list down, it usually far supersedes what you think that you don't have, and puts you into that out of lack state of mind and into that abundant state of mind, which doesn't have to be anything surrounded with money. Money comes, money goes, and it's a form of exchange. And so many people, they say, oh yeah, the law of attraction, I want to be rich, I want to have this, I want to have that. Well, I'll tell you, I've had millions and millions and millions of dollars run through my hands, and no amount of money has ever made me truly happy. The most happiness that I've ever had in my life is working with kids and being of divine service to humanity. That's it. So, I always say, give more and receive more. And, the way that, we receive, being in that receptive mode, it all depends on how we, tune in to those frequencies or vibrations that are, shooting through the ether on a regular basis, so to speak.
Did you learn yourself on how to tune in to your frequencies and vibrations, or was
Yeah,
it
yeah, that's a
taught?
really good question. So I was in prison I got incarcerated in year 2000, and
And how
for
long were you
103
in there for,
pounds,
Ryan?
almost 2 years. And for the first 7.5 months that I was in there, I was so depressed. I'm like, I threw my hockey career down the drain. Injuries, adversities, hockey culture, booze, sex, drugs, rock and roll, you name it. I mean, the hockey culture it can be very, very crazy, so to speak. And I kind of fell out of love with my dominating dream. I was a really high prospect at that time, and yeah, I just, I made some decisions that led me down a path that taught me a lot. Um, Now, prison was probably one of my greatest educators ever. Saw a lot of horrible stuff in there. I was scared shitless out of my mind, but I knew that I had to stay, mentally strong in order to overcome how many days that I was going to be in there for. And I said, 7.5 months in, I had the blankets over my head. I was, going down the wormhole, and there was this little guy in there, a 56-year-old man. He had 7 aliases. Is one of them was Tojo, George. But this guy, he was a character. He was this little Japanese guy. He was like this little real life Buddha. And I remember we had a really good relationship in there. And he ran that prison with his mind. There was 150 inmates in a maximum federal penitentiary. I didn't see the light of day for God. It was the whole time I was in there, I wasn't able to go outside. It was maximum federal penitentiary for the plant.
And was this in the
And
US or was this here in Canada?
in the US, yeah. I never sold any drugs or any marijuana in Canada. I was fueling pipelines all throughout down the West Coast. Started in Washington, then it shot all the way down to LA, then it turned into Chicago, New York, you name it. I was at the top of the food chain in that business, which was horrendous. It was fun at the time when you're young and you're seeing all this cash coming in, but when your friends start dropping and, murder, addiction, you name it. Prison saved my life. Or, I was on a real downward spiral, before that happened. And I didn't become a good boy after I got out of prison. I kept doing it for a little while. And every single time I did something illegal, it just never set right with me. I always knew that I was destined to do better things. And I don't want to put a negative spin off on people that are involved in organized crime, because there's really good people that just do shitty stuff, and I think we all have the ability to change for the better. And this guy, he brought me into his cell and he said, listen, he's like, you can ruin your life and just sit in here. He goes, you're in here, you're not getting out. So I want to start teaching you about tuning into the higher and finer vibrations of the universe. And I'm like, what? What's this guy talking about? And I always knew innately that we create our own reality. I remember telling my mom when I was like 9 or something like that. I was like, hey, Mom, you know that we create our own reality? And she looked at me like I was freaking nuts. But,
what's my son on?
Yeah. What's that?
She's probably like, what's my son on?
Yeah, what's he on right now? God, he's 9 and what is he doing? Like poppers or something? Yeah. But anyways, he started teaching me about, tuning into frequencies and whatnot, and really like kind of start breaking down how everything is vibratory energy. And, I took a lot of, I listened. I listened, I learned, we started writing poetry. He started teaching me about the art of deliberate intention, how everything comes down to like how we intend, synchronicity, synergy, all that kind of stuff. And, basically at night, I would put on these headphones and I would lay on my bed and I would just close my eyes and, visualize a better life when I got out. And, like I said, things didn't turn for the better right away. I wasn't, when I got out, all the boys were still there, welcome me back to the real world, so to speak. That was very fake and, driven on money and greed and that a false sense of power and ego, so to speak.
Did they want you back in the game? Is that what they wanted?
Absolutely. Yeah. I had more connections when I came out of jail than I did when I went in.
Right.
And, that fateful day that was, I always believe that everything happens for a reason. I had a hiking trail. It wasn't a trail, it was a bushwhack. It was about an 8 hour bushwhack that went through the mountains, about 2.5 hours outside of Vancouver. And something bad happened
Mm.
about 3 or 4 days prior to that day. I said I would never, ever take my own product across the border again. I'd kind of like paid my dues and started my own, network with, the fully encrypted Blackberries. And I
Yeah.
mean, it was heavy. Like this, like what I was doing was, it wasn't like I was running a Mickey Mouse little operation. It was, I ran it like a Fortune 500 business.
Mhm.
And, thought I was taking all precautions, so to speak. But one of our safe houses got kicked in, lost about $275,000 worth of the product, Canadian dollars. In the US, that would have been about a half a million. And I was partnered up with a very serious individual at the time. And my hiking crew had no idea. My driver had no idea. I tried to keep things very like gentle on that side. So they didn't know really who I was involved with at how high a level these people were. And, guns were drawn and threats were put down. And I said, we can make this, a lot worse than it can be, or I'll go hike with these guys. We'll make it back in one run. And it just so happened that that day, I did the run with these guys, and I just had a gut feeling. I remember a plane going across. It was this 8 hour bushwhack that I found with helicopter aerial maps back in '98 or something like that. So yeah, the gateway down to the U.S. Through the mountains, and next thing you know, I'm on the Mount Baker Highway with helicopters over top of the vehicle. Pull over,
What
face
was
down
going
on
through
the
your mind?
gravel.
What was
Pardon
going through
me.
your mind during that time?
Fear, and oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I had no idea of the ramifications. I was young, and yeah, absolutely petrified. And before I knew it, thrown into a county jail. The legal process started to go on. I was in that county jail with 8 inmates in this really small little confined area, eating horrible food. It was terrible. I mean, my parents just took the blow like it was bad. And obviously I took so much shame on myself because, I was being, such a high prospect in hockey, and just washed it right down the drain with, what I did. So yeah, I beat the shit out of myself. Got sent down to the maximum federal penitentiary after they made it federal after 7 days. And yeah, that was it.
And where were
Losing your
you
freedom.
located? What state?
Uh, FD in Washington. So
Washington.
I spent my time in SeaTac, which is really close to the airport. And I was a big travel guy, so it wasn't kind for me seeing all these planes getting taken off and being like, I wonder where that plane's going. I guess I won't be going to Cancun spring break this year. So
And how old were
very
you at this
humbling.
time? Oh, totally. How old were you at this time?
I was 23.
23. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah. So I know National Geographic depicted it on Locked Up Abroad. They were intrigued by my story after I rode across Canada in 2019, but they left out a lot. God bless National Geographic, but that show Locked Up Abroad was all about entertainment. So within this bike ride that I'll be doing, coming up March 25th. One of the main things is that I'll be able to actually really, really go deep and talk about how that business was, what it did to my psyche, how many, the friends that I lost, and put a positive spin on, and maybe try to help people that are in that business or going down the wrong path, that there's a better life for you no matter what. Because the reality is, being involved with organized crime is that you're going to either end up dead, in prison, or probably addicted to something. And it usually starts with the addiction to money. And so there's, at the end of the day, I have no regrets. It taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about people. It taught me a lot about business. I think it kicked up my intuitive faculties, a notch or two. But at the end of the day, it's dangerous, and especially these days, you don't know what you're getting. None of that product out there is very safe. All the fentanyl, the overdoses that are going on, even with weed, you don't know what they're putting in the marijuana these days. Obviously the government's got their own thing, but people are buying online and this and that, and whatever, and that's all good. People, I'm never going to judge anybody for what they're doing because I've done what I've done, and it was just in a different way. It's actually funny when I see these government stores all up all over the place. I'm like, God, I remember there was a time when it was hard to get like 15, 20 pounds, and now the government's taken it over and made it okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I did 2 years in prison for that. Now it's legal. That's kind of cool. Right on. So, anyways,
It is weird how
no,
things
no harm, no
happen,
foul.
isn't it? Yeah.
What's that?
I said it is weird how things happen, isn't it, with all of this?
Prohibition, eh? Modern day prohibition. That's what it was. And so that, they just did the same thing with weed as they did with alcohol way back. And, you know, um, the prefrontal cortex of the brain isn't developed, especially for a man. Usually around 17, 18, 19 is where it really starts to develop, really more. So, smoking weed at a young age for a lot of kids, I don't condone it. It's all up to them, but it can affect you, it really can. And it's, do you want a clear mind, or do you want a mind that's clouded? So I think it's, it needs to be educated more in the schools. And, I think the parents should take more notice these days. You smell it everywhere. You go down the street. It's like it's very accepted now, obviously, and it's just like no one cares. No one, everyone just turns a blind eye. But at the end of the day, it is a mind altering drug. It can help a lot of people. There's a lot of healing properties, for pain or whatnot. I'm a huge advocate of CBD. I own a CBD company down in the United States. It's actually Divine Source Matter CBD down in the States, but that's for, sleep. There's no THC in the product or whatnot. And once again, 10% goes back into the mental health arena. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks so much for this. How can people help support what you're going to be doing coming up here in May?
Well, the bike ride's called We Can. So we can do anything together. Teamwork makes the dream work. I'm a huge advocate of that. And the website will be up within the next week. So I'll be able to fire that over to you.
Sure.
And for anybody listening, they can, if they want, they can follow me on Instagram. I don't go on Facebook a whole lot. And, my Instagram is Ryan Phillips 888. They can shoot me a message personally. And, I encourage anybody who wants to get involved to, just reach out. I'm an open book.
Yeah.
Anyone that's positive, shoot me a message and I'll get back to you. I'm all about helping other people. So because I've been able to help myself, it's put me in a position where I can help others. And I can't wait to get into Calgary there. See you. We got to
Of course.
figure out some sort of event. Maybe we can get a couple thousand people riding out of Calgary there when it's time to move on.
Theo and everyone down. And, yeah, it'll be fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be great. So,
Awesome, man.
so I guess this was the podcast, eh?
This was the podcast. We'll have to do another one soon.
I would love to. You know what? I think it would be really cool is, different segments of the ride. When I get into different provinces, we can do a live or we can do whatever. And we can kind of just,
well, if you're down, if you're down, we could even look at ways of just kind of creating a show on the Canadian podcast of your journey.
Let's do it. Absolutely.
Right. And you just literally take your phone and just make a 10, 15-minute update every day.
100%. Yeah. I'll be up in Lake Louise or in the prairies or wherever, Ontario, wherever I am, you and I can talk about that, make little videos and I'll shoot them over to you. And if you want to fire them up,
yeah, why not?
we'll capture the beauty of the country, the beauty of the people, and the purpose behind it is really, helping people get well and knowing that there's an outlet for that. And I don't have all the answers. I got a few of them, but that's why I always say power in numbers, because what I don't know, somebody else might.
Exactly.
So
Oh, well, thank you again for this, Ryan. I appreciate it.
thank you. Yeah, greatly appreciated.